All right, good afternoon, or I should say good evening, since we're after 6 p.m. I want to welcome everyone to episode 3 of Was It Something We Said with your host, the Pope. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I am El Jefe. Just so you know, your screen is stuck. All right. Okay, let's get things started. So here are our topics for this week. Topic 1, we're going to talk about our memories from the blackout of 2003. Next, we'll talk about the renaissance of our local Detroit sports teams. And topic 3 will be a review of our Lumen dining experience from this past Friday. And then the final talk will be solo from the Pope, his message to all. But before we get started, I want to thank our family and friends for all the positive feedback we've been receiving, some constructive criticism, and it was all taken well, and it'll only make us better as we continue this adventure with now episode 3 of our podcast.
That's correct. Yep. Just want to thank everybody and keep it coming. So,
Yep.
again, we're running, but we're running slow. So, yeah, we want to hear everything and take everything, and nobody's taking nothing to heart. So, hey, just tell us the truth, because with the truth, that's the only way we can make changes to get better.
Right. I agree. Uh, so, as I mentioned, topic 1, uh, this blackout that occurred in August of 2003. You know, my just a couple things I want to say about it because it's still fresh in my mind. Uh, you know what? It lasted 4 days, 2 to 4 days, but it felt longer only because things were taken away that we're so used to having. Um, I remember that it had us cancel Autumn's sixth birthday party. That wasn't happening. Uh, I think let me get my dates right. Yeah, August 14th through the 16th was the main time period of the blackout. Her birthday being August 15th, so it was bad timing. But a couple of things I remember was one, the heat. I like to stay cool in the summer. Uh, not having no AC, not having electricity to run the fans. It was hot. And you know, when people get hot, attitudes snap pretty easily. Uh, I remember driving, from Southfield all the way to Telegraph and I think Van Born to get in a line to get gas because there wasn't no gas stations in the area that either one had gas or the lines weren't stretched, as far as the eye could see. It was, what made me think about this was this recent blackout in Europe, in Spain and Portugal, and you know, people didn't have access to their money because, of course, the banks were closed. There was no ATMs. Pretty sure the cell phone coverage was sparse, but you just feel helpless. And whether you're by yourself, makes it no easier than having a family, what you got to look after. But what's your thoughts on it, Pope?
Yeah, I remember that day, and then some things about it I remember, and some things I don't. Some things I don't know, but yeah, because it was a little bit after 4 p.m. I remember I was staying with Askin while my condo was being built in New Center area. So I remember we had to go cross town because he went to try to get some gas. Like he said, he couldn't get no gas or nothing. I remember him going cross town to get Carrie. So we drove over there, got her. I remember Cav being with me. So I don't know if I got her after work or whatever there too, but that's what I remember. So we went over, got Carrie, got everything else, got her, came back, and then it was kind of I remember basically it was like a you know with all the inconveniences and stuff, it turned into a dang kind of like block party. Everybody went in their freezers, got meat out.
Yeah,
We was
right.
barbecuing, everything else. So me and Askin was we went to Jackson to get gas. So we drove
What?
the van all the way to Jackson, Michigan.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Damn. How'd y'all, hope y'all, obviously y'all had enough gas to get out
Yeah, we had
there.
enough to get there, but we drove to Jackson, Michigan, filled up, picked up some other stuff,
Oh, man.
came back, and the next day, shit, we was watching movies in the van because he had gas in the van. So we turned the van, had the van on, was watching movies
Hmm.
in the van at night, and so again, it's like we do. We made the best of it, but like you say, it was some. It was 4 days for some, few hours for others, and it hit, New York, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Michigan, Ohio, Toronto, Ottawa. So I think the total outage for everybody got back. Yeah, it was a while. So yeah,
Said 55 million people were affected by it. I think a little bit over 100 people lost their lives, unfortunately. Uh, yeah, I mean, when blackouts happen now, fingers are crossed that it's very temporary because nobody want to go through that anymore.
yeah, because again, too, like some people, if you got gas generators, that was another thing that sparked that. Everybody like, hey, forget this. I'm getting a generator if it can. So you had all that kind of stuff, but it also kind of, having a little bit of money in your pocket, a little cash, cause like you say, hey, what nothing, you wasn't getting nothing out the bank. So if you didn't have no money on you, you had to wait it out because
Yeah.
power and stuff was down. So, just fortunate that we had a little bit of cash on us and was able to go through, get gas, do other stuff. That too, like we say, we just, hey, it was almost like we was camping without power.
How did
So
how did y'all find the gas station and somebody told y'all about it in Jackson?
yeah, cause John, cause friend of his, Tanya, she lived in Jackson or whatever. So
Hmm.
I just remember, yep, talking to her, yep, boom, we hit the road, went to Jackson, and filled up the gas, the van, because that's when they had old house note, the van, filled that up, got ice, got other kind of stuff, and yeah, we just was on a camping trip for a little bit.
Asking was his father started out with the vans, and he carried on the tradition with it, and he took very good care of it. And I guess it came through for him when he most needed it. Because if y'all in there watching movies and everybody else looking at each other, y'all watching movies.
Watching movies, barbecuing, steak, pork chops, or whatever. But
Yeah.
like you said, hey, we just made the best out of it and had a good time with it. So even though,
No, that's
like you
good.
say, a lot of people lost their lives, just again another reason why, hey, just blessed.
Yeah, I did. I think the company was First Energy, and from a what happened standpoint, for what we were told, their alarm system didn't notify them, First Energy, that was no power going out, which sounds kind of shaky to me. But I guess there's all kinds of theories of what happened, but we know what the effect of it was,
Yeah,
and we
exactly.
don't
I
know.
read some said it was like a 9 second short out or something that caused everything to blink out. Who knows what happened?
Who knows? That's well. Again, let's hope we don't have to go through that again. So,
Yep, and
thank.
then people in Spain and Portugal were there too. So hope none of them lost their lives or whatever else too. Because besides the good times and memories I got from it, there were a lot of tragedies and stuff out for other people.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. When the lights are working, the energy is working. People still disobey the lights. So you can imagine the lights are out. It's Dukes of Hazard time. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch your back, your front, your side, everything.
Yeah, so I don't know, modern day version of oh, what was that with Mel Gibson? when he
Oh,
first
Mad
came out.
Max.
Mad Max,
Yeah.
baby. I'll drive that truck. Wasn't that bad, but
That's how you got the gas.
that's how he got the gas.
All right. So, well, thanks for your feedback on that. I want to go into our second topic, which is the renaissance of our local sports teams. And I want to thank Amani for that suggestion. And, even though she's living in Houston, making sure she's not talking about the Texans and the Cowboys. It's talking about the Red Wings, the Pistons, the Tigers, the Lions, and my first thoughts as far as the Renaissance goes is for three of those four teams, by the way, because one of them dragging it. I'll talk about them in a minute. But starting off with the Lions, we were 2 games away from going to the Super Bowl. Um, I didn't know how I was going to act if we made it to the Super Bowl, but I know that we had 2 home games and we shit the bed and it never made it. So, but looking at it from a 1957 standpoint of when the Lions last won NFL championship, it wasn't a Super Bowl back then, and the Lions being one of only a handful of teams that have never made it to the Super Bowl, I felt before I die, I'm going to get a chance to see them in the Super Bowl. And it's not even a matter of winning it right now. I just want to be one of 2 teams standing with the Honolulu Blue. But, we got a chance with the team this year. But from the, transition from the Lions to the next up and coming team, which I feel is the Pistons, which, they just got knocked out of the first round of playoffs, but they only won 14 games last year.
Exactly.
I didn't re-up my season tickets, and they tripled their wins. Yeah, tried to call my sales guy, and he left. So we all folded our cards and said, "The hell
So
with
what you
this."
saying? You was the bad luck strapper
Yeah,
out.
it's
After
a
you went in the
hey,
house, they end up winning 3
first
times as
time,
much games.
first time in several years. I said, no, boss, I am not renewing these damn tickets. But I'm happy for them. The future is bright.
Oh yeah, because they, what New York was a what seed,
Third.
3 seed, and we were a 6 seed.
Yep.
Wasn't much separation between them and us, because all those games was close.
Yep.
I mean, some experience was a kind of separator in there too, and a lot of people talk about it. But hey, Brunson made the play.
Man.
And he hit the basket. You can say he whined, you can call him whatever, but he got him going one way, went back the other way, and drained it.
That move was something in itself because he had Thompson on skates. He went out the frame.
Yeah.
He wasn't even in his face when he took that last shot, but
he was wide open. And Thompson had been playing pretty good D in there too. So, again, they just got to take this in, see what they can bring back. Got a good core, got Stewart, got Ivy coming back. So, see what they're gonna do with the with the veteran swing men that helped in the success, Beasley and Shorter. So we just got to see what the team looks like when they run it back next season. But it's good to be back in the playoff spotlight,
national spotlight.
Detroit basketball needs to be.
Well, I see you wearing the Old English D, so let's talk about the Tigers real quick because they're leading the American League in wins right now.
Yeah.
The 1 year that I didn't take the bet of, I think the over under was 79.5 games, and I didn't trust them coming out of spring training, but again, they're looking damn good. The pitching is solid.
Yeah.
Javi Baez is playing center field and making circus catches. He's, around 280 batting average.
And Green, 2 homers in the same inning in the ninth when he thought he was down. So they playing with heart. So it just looked like last year was the fire kind of sale and, hey, bring up the young guns. Let's see what's going on. And then they caught fire and they for real. So, hey, so showing that that in the last season wasn't a fluke so far. So, like you say, best record in the AL. So, shouts out to to the Tigers.
What do jumping back to the Lions and the Pistons real quick, starting with the Lions, what do you think needs to happen for them to go to win a game in the playoffs? We know they did it 2 years ago, but
Um,
losing to a rookie quarterback kind of pissed the city off, including me, for multiple reasons that you know about. Um, but what do the Lions have to do to go to the next level? And same thing, same question for the Pistons. What do you think?
excuse me, but Lions. Well, now we got to see how they got to deal with more change, because now you done lost the DC and the OC. No matter how you feel about them, you still have to replace them. So next man can come in, can do a good job. He can also do a bad job. So we just kind of got to see how that part goes there too. Far as players, personnel, and it's definitely got Campbell's, attitude with it. The team's got grit, and other people was taking the grit slogan and putting it in with them, but no, that Detroit grit is there. So we just gotta see what the product's gonna look like they put out on the field. So they got a lot of the pieces there. We want somebody else on the other side of Hutch. We want Hutch to be back and be healthy and there too. So still some unknowns, but it's May, so let's kind of see how they go, and then kind of go from there. So I don't think the moment was too big for them last year. How the turnovers and that stuff, and kind of got behind there too, and couldn't get it going. So I think without some of those turnovers and stuff, then hey, we make it a track meet and get Gibbs and them out there and get going and kind of go for it. So
Well, I did take the over in that game, so that was the one good thing that came out of it.
right, but
All the points they gave up.
well, yeah. But every year, everybody's getting better. Our division's getting tougher. So
What about the Pistons? What do you see the Pistons needed to go to the next level?
I think it's gonna be a young team, and it's tough to get free agents and that stuff here. And let's
I
kind
think
of
the
see
playoff. I
if
think the playoff will help attract some people
it'll
now.
help
Now,
attract some people. But when you look at our roster versus Boston's roster, who I say still is the best in the East until they get beat. I mean, you got Tatum, you got Brown, you got Porzingis, you got Drew Holiday, you got Derek White, you got the six man of the, they got some firepower. So how do you kind of stack up to them? Right now, we're a young team, play hard, hustle. Hey, I ain't. We could have won this series, and then I think we might have lost this second series. But it's
yeah,
gonna
it's
take some
learning.
time, some experience, and getting a few more and keeping a few more key players to be able to compete with the top of the league.
Yeah, I think for the Lions, one, they need to get more pressure to help Hutch. He's coming off of a broken leg, and you got that bum Marcus Davenport that people are hoping stays healthy. But I tell my kids and anybody that listen, hope's not a strategy. So we need to find either a diamond in the rough or make that trade for Hendrickson out of Cincinnati. But we need to get. You saw what Philly did with that rush and how they affected Mahomes. So getting that defensive line to complement Hutch, I think, is one thing that they. Offense is good. We'll see how this offensive coordinator, the change to both sides that you mentioned, how that looks. But I think the first need is getting a compliment to Hutch. And as far as the Pistons go, I want to see him go look, for a person like Nas Reed, that stretch four from Minnesota. brings size, shooting touch, experience. He's got a mean streak, which is something we need. I'd bring Schroeder back. I'd bring Beasley back, but Hardaway and a couple other people, they could just keep going when they get back to clean out their lockers. You could take the nameplate when you go.
It's a keepsake.
Yeah, here's a keepsake for you. So we talked about 3 of the 4 successful teams. So real quick on the 4th team, our hockey team, the Detroit Red Wings. I think I got my notes here. The last time the Wings made the playoffs was 2016.
Yep, 9
before
straight seasons.
Yeah, before that they set an NHL record of making the playoffs in 25 straight years. And for me, the gap is clear with this Wings team and several teams from the past several years. Too much finesse, not enough toughness. I'm watching these Stanley Cup playoffs. They're just not built for it. They're a bunch of little figure skaters compared to wrestlers on skates, and they get beat up easy, physically, mentally. So I think the first thing that Stevie needs to do, the general manager Eiserman, is to retool and bring up some of these prospects. Let's see what they could do. But they got to get tougher. They got to get tougher, and when you get that toughness, you will get some scoring. And I'm gonna say a name that you may remember. Vladimir Konstantinov. He used to play defense for the Wings, and after the Wings won the Cup in 1997, unfortunately he was part of a limo accident that ruined the rest of his career, almost killed him. He's in a wheelchair now. But if we get a couple more Vladdies on that blue line that make people scared to come to the front of the net or to cross that blue line, that's what this team needs. Nobody fears the Wings now. But if you haven't heard of Vladimir Konstantinov, look up his name and look some of those videos, and you'll see that's the type of player this team needs. What do you think?
Yeah, I think as far as from players, but I looked up a few things too. Point percentage, we went down. We was at .513 from .555 last year. We were growing 4 years in a row because we went from .275 to .429 to .451 to .488. So we were going up.
What's this, a win percentage you're talking about?
But no, it's a point percentage of points that they were kind of getting to. Other thing I kind of noticed is that we were the 4th fewest in the league on 5-on-5 goals. So we were 4th last. We were 4th from the bottom in scoring 5-on-5 goals.
Toughness.
Right. Now to counteract that, we was 4th best in the league on power play goals. But now another bad point is we was last in the NHL on penalty kill.
Yep.
So
that's a big gap.
That's a huge gap. So right now, and playoffs were in striking distance this year and last year from them. So with this squad as constructed, I don't know, they go on these spurts and long droughts. They got to stop that. They can make it to the playoffs, but you say right. But past Wings teams in the past with the toughness and all that's not here yet. So we need to improve in these areas, get to the playoffs, and then, like you say, try to get that toughness in there to where, we can start trying to make a run. I didn't really look at Goldie play, to see, how's a Goldie play doing, but, if he keep getting shots and shots at him, that ain't no good too. So,
well, they got a couple of goalies in the farm system. One of them is a number 1 draft pick, Sebastian Kosa, that they think highly of, but he got drafted. I don't have it in front of me, but It's been at least 3 or 4 years. I mean, how long does it take? They talk about developing, but I see some of these other teams that have young goaltenders and young forwards, young defensemen that they got them plug and play. But I think the difference from that standpoint is those players come into a team that has the right veterans, and we don't.
Yeah,
So
that's true. We ain't got too many
they ain't got nobody to learn from
And
unless they go to YouTube.
right, you got the young that came in a couple years ago for the Blackhawks. They got him, Connor Bedard. He was, he came in playing. So yeah, it's like out of this that we're drafting, when are we gonna get them up here and get them going?
Yeah, they ain't doing it. And it's not like the Griffins are winning AHL championships either. So it, I don't know what the weight is, but is this Eiserman's last year, you think?
No, I don't think so. Like you say, he's making changes and stuff there too. I mean, who you gonna get? I mean, it's always somebody else, but now they got a different direction and stuff that they going. And I think cause he was here on Stanley Cup teams in there, I think he got a little bit more leeway before they yank him.
All right. Well, if it's up to me, he's got one more year, and you make it to the playoffs. I want to go past the first round too. Shouldn't be sneaking in at the last week of the season, saying that we made it, and then you get swept. So expect a lot more coming out of this team next year. Or find a new general manager. All right. Topic number 3. Friday, me and you, Shay and Trina met up for a nice breaking bread down at Lumen, downtown Detroit. Lumen, I loved it from the first time we went there, and even from this past Friday, even though, the guy in the parking lot made an extra $10 on me. And
Yeah, you gave it to him.
Yeah, he was nice. He had a good sales pitch. He had a good sales pitch.
What?
Yeah.
Can I have the other 10? Because that was his sales pitch to me. I gave him a 20 for 10. All this other 10 for me.
I had an extra 20. I had an extra 20 left over. So here, take it.
Yeah, here's no extra. You ain't even valeting. What are you doing for extra $10?
You know what the funny part is? He said, you get a VIP spot. I'm looking around. All these are VIP spots.
That was right across the street.
Right across the street.
Right. I had a VIP spot for $10.
But let's talk about Lumen. And for those that haven't been, it's in Beacon Park. It's got indoor and outdoor seating. It's got a patio. It's got an upstairs that's never open for whatever reason, either weather or just not enough staffing. But we just had appetizers that day, and usually, we do appetizers and meals. But from the calamari to the meatballs to the wings, what else do we have? Crab cakes. You could fill yourself up pretty good down there, and they got a real diverse menu. They have diversity in their drinks. The ambiance too is nice. Looking out from where we were sitting out in the park area, they had a couple of pickleball courts set up, and it's right across the street from Sexy Steak, which is another nice spot we'll talk about in a future episode. But I thought, and in the wintertime, Lumen offers, I think they're called igloos, where you could eat outside, well lit. I haven't tried it yet, because they're tough to get from a reservation standpoint. But I definitely would recommend it if you're looking for a place downtown to try out.
Oh, yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, good place to kind of hang out, catch up with new friends, old friends, whatever else there too. Like you say, it being set in Beacon Park, and you just got that downtown setting there, like you say, with the pickleball courts. You got the glass you can see throughout, streets of the city, and like you say, sexy steak across the street. It's just a good place with good ambience to go in and kind of enjoy. Yep, them two Kentucky mules I had were pretty good with the Reserve. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so
That's Rona's favorite bourbon is the Wolford.
again, well, she might have to get a shot of Blanton's. Blanton's is smooth.
Okay.
So but yeah, so no, just like the vibe down there when you just go down there, like you say, friendly staff, welcoming everybody. Hey, is here to promote having a good time, and their two waitress, she was cool. Um,
Very nice. Very nice
yeah,
staff.
yeah, it wasn't just drop you off something and you don't see them no more.
Nope.
Got in the conversation. Hey, what you think about this? Okay, yeah, too. Offered some opinions on some different stuff there too. So yeah, always a nice go back to spot to just kind of have a couple drinks and chill, and then like you say, catch up with old friends, new friends, whatever.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it again. Uh, we love our friends, and we got a couple of events coming up. Mr. Askins' 60th birthday dinner. We'll talk about that place. We'll leave it as a secret for now. Maybe we talk about that during that week's episode. So, and for the event itself of the guy that we love, Mr. Askins' 60th birthday celebration. But like I said, if you haven't been to Lumen, go check it out. We highly suggest it. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Pope, for the closing thoughts on episode 3.
Yep, closing thoughts on episode 3. But before that, here too, hopefully this comes through right. Um, we'll kind of do a little jam of the week here. I don't know. So sometimes, because I drive the Lance a couple times a week, so but even doing that, I ride around and I listen to the different, radio, all this satellite, whatever, and then I just come across a jam. And to me, a jam could be anything that you kind of like. It could be spoken word, it can be poetry, it could be sayings, and here it can be music. So here go one. Here go one here that I just kind of picked up and been listening to. It's called "You and Me" by Rockin' Robbins. So I don't know. It's a little old school, so I listen to a lot of genres, but this one is a little bit R&B old school one. And if you get a chance, go to YouTube, whatever, check it out. Let me know what you think about it. If you heard of it before, that's your jam or not, just kind of let me go. So here's a little bit just kind of playing in the background here. It's just kind of got that kind of smooth vibe to it, and some of the lyrics and that stuff just something that was has made me just think about a few things and go back in time and different situations and different things you might have said or might have been said to you. So when you get a chance, check it out. Let us know how you think about it. All right, with that, the we said message. Today it's failure. Failure is the word. So I want you to consider failure as roadblocks or a road closed for construction. Come to peace with your emotions, take the detour, and arrive at your destination. Because that's all it is. This is just a roadblock, it's a road closed. So take a detour and just get to your final destination, wherever you're going. So that's all the Pope got for this week.
All right. Well, thank you for the music, and thank you for the final words, and very well put. Keep going, don't stop. All right.
No, you got to keep going. Don't stop.
All right, my brother. Well, I love you, and that takes our episode 3 to an end. Thank you, and we'll listen to the feedback, and we'll talk to everyone next week on our episode 4.
righty.
Everyone, enjoy your week.
Hey,
Thank
you
you.
too. Love you too, bro.
All right, man.
All righty.